Hi there, my name is Meghan Norris, and I'm the undergraduate chair in psychology at Queen's University. I'm excited to share with you today some thoughts about careers related to training in psychology. So let's dig in. Oftentimes, we think about career like a straight line journey. You finish your high school, you go on to either college or university, you may do some postgraduate training, you get your job, you move up that ladder towards retirement. But in reality, for many, myself included, there are many more twists and turns than certainly I expected. In this video, I'm going to hopefully equip you to negotiate any unexpected twists and turns and to really find opportunity in those moments to get you where you want to go. Oftentimes I'm asked, what can I do with a degree in psych? In this video, I want to reframe that to be, what can't you do with a degree in psych? I'm also going to be talking about ways to map your training to attributes that are desirable by employers. We'll do some career exploration. We'll talk about methods for finding programs that meet your goals, and then I'll provide you with some additional resources. Let's start with why psych. Training in psychology is relevant for so many careers. And on this slide that was generated by Queen's Career Services team, there's just a few of the many paths that you might be interested in taking. For example, training in psychology can lead to careers in medicine, nursing, social work, clinical psychology, counseling. You can go on to be a professor. You may pursue occupational therapy, consumer behavior, corrections, just to name a few. We can think about careers that training in psychology will lead to, but it's also helpful to think about what it is that employers want. According to a survey of employers conducted by the National Association of Colleges and Employers in 2016, the top 10 most highly rated attributes of job candidates were leadership, ability to work in a team, communication skills that are written, problem-solving skills, verbal communication skills, strong work ethic, initiative, analytic and quantitative skills, flexibility and adaptability, and technical skills. Here's where things get really cool. The American Psychological Association specifies 5 goals related to learning outcomes for undergraduate programs in psychology, and these have direct overlap with the attributes that I just talked about. These goals include a knowledge base in psychology, scientific inquiry and critical thinking, ethical and social responsibility in a diverse world, communication, and professional development, including teamwork capacity. These are all really high-level thoughts. I want to make this much more concrete in a way that can help you as you're networking, as you're writing cover letters, or as you're in an interview. I'm going to show you a grid. It's actually through Google Sheets that you can easily make a copy of that outlines attributes most desired by employers. I'm going to walk through it with you, and I'm going to encourage you to think of concrete examples that demonstrate your development in the areas identified by employers. Before I share my screen, I want to just give you a heads up that most people will not have something for every box that I'm going to show you. That's okay. If you have some blank boxes, especially in one specific area, that's a really great cue to identify next steps for your own professional development. I'm going to be sharing my screen in a minute to walk through this with you, but I have the link up here so that you can go to this Google Sheet yourself and make a copy. And I've also created a tiny URL just in case it helps make it a little bit easier to access. Up for you here, I have a spreadsheet in Google Sheets that you're able to make a copy of and fill in on your own account that will keep that data private for you. You'll notice down the left-hand column, I've listed those attributes that are most desired by employers. Across the top row, I encourage you and prompt you to think about coursework, volunteer experience, paid work experience, and any awards and honors that really concretely speak to each of those attributes. So for example, maybe you had a leadership role in a course or in a residence or in a peer mentorship role, and you can write and put details and really concrete examples of that within each of these cells. It's really important to know that you want to be concrete and specific. So oftentimes, I've seen many cover letters and they say, I have leadership experience. And I want to know about that leadership experience. So make sure that you're giving a specific example with enough detail that you can talk to somebody about it. This is a really nice sheet to have to help kind of review before you go into an interview so that you have some clear, concrete things to talk about. I want to highlight especially this last column. It's really common not to have awards and honors that speak to these attributes, especially as you're beginning your career. I want to encourage you to nominate yourself for awards that you think you meet the criteria for. That is absolutely okay to do. It's also okay to reach out to a trusted mentor or friend who can speak to your qualifications and ask that they nominate you for an award. It's also a really great thing to nominate others for awards. So if you're finding that that last column has some gaps, that's okay, that's to be expected. It's to be expected that people will have gaps all through this table. Again, if you notice that there's common places where you have holes, that can be a really great place to start for your next form of professional development. I'm next going to invite you to engage in an activity with me that may feel a little bit silly and cheesy at first, but that actually can become really helpful as you start to think about possible next steps. I really encourage you to approach this as a fun exercise. I don't intend for it to be stressful. I often recommend students grab their favorite snacks and have an open mind as we enter into this career exploring activity. Setting aside the training that you have now or the training that you think you may want to get, what I encourage you to do is go find a good handful, 3 to 5 dream job postings. These don't need to be jobs that you would apply for now. Maybe they're executive opportunities that you would apply for 20 years from now. That's okay. To help get you started in your search, I encourage you to Google or search for the web pages of organizations that you're really drawn to or that you like or that you think do meaningful work that you would like to be involved in. Once you get to that web page, if you look for their human resources page or their employment opportunities page, you should see a list of job postings. Have a look through. Is there anything that jumps out to you? This information can really help to inform your next steps. You'll start to notice that I really love spreadsheets. I'm going to walk you through this next Google Sheet. Again, you can make a copy of it and input your own data and keep that private to yourself. But in this next spreadsheet, I'm going to show you a way of tracking some of that information from job postings that were of interest to you. Okay, in this next spreadsheet, what you'll see is I encourage you as you're looking at those job postings to record the job title, the organization, the location of the job, the salary, the job description and job duties. These two things can be overlap, but they can also be different. Really important for this task, I encourage you to record the required qualifications, the desired but not required qualifications. So for example, French as an asset. Any additional information that you think looks good to record or of interest to you. And then I encourage you to reflect and rate how much you like this job on a scale of 1 to 10. You can also post and record the URL for the job posting. Just be aware that these are often deleted once a job has been filled, but it can be helpful in terms of navigating back to organizations you are passionate about. Once you have a good handful of jobs here, what I encourage you to do is sort by how much you like the job. Then you can look at the required qualifications of those jobs that you like best. Oftentimes, there can be a recurring theme in terms of the required qualifications for shared jobs that you're interested in. That's a really great way to get insight into your next step for training or whether additional training is required at all. It could be that you're already qualified for those jobs that are of most interest to you. I want to share with you a really great tool called Job Bank from the Government of Canada. My favorite way to use this tool is to go into trend analysis and explore the market and explore occupations. Let's look at psychologist. You just type in the occupation you're interested in, hit search. Sometimes takes a minute, it's a big database, but it will provide you with a description of that career and occupation. It will show you average wages, which can be really helpful to understand, especially across regions of Canada, how wages can differ. This also can be a really great tool if you're negotiating a job and the salary is to be negotiated and you don't have much other information. This can be a great tool to at least give you some data as you enter into those negotiations. It'll talk about job prospects. You can find some job postings here. And then it will also show you requirements. One thing that I really like about this website is if it is an occupation that requires professional certification and licensing, this website will link you out to the provincial governing body that's in charge of your registration and licensure. So it's a really helpful tool. Another tool I want to show you in terms of career exploration is LinkedIn. If you go to the LinkedIn page and you follow Queen's University, you can click on a button called Alumni. You'll be able to see the paths that Queen's alumni have taken with their degree plans to move throughout their career. So for example, if you're curious what you can do with a degree in psychology, you just type in psychology. You can also edit these years. If an alumni from 1900 isn't necessarily reflective of what you want to see, you can tweak that a bit. But you'll be able to go through and look and see the training that your fellow alumni have undergone, and you'll be able to see what they've done with it throughout their career. Speaking of what you can do with your degree training, the Higher Education Quality Council of Ontario created this really great data visualization tool where you can look and see the field of study that undergraduate students have done and the occupations that they've tended to move into. What I really like about this data visualization tool is that you'll notice students with degree training in many areas, they go everywhere. So you're going to have lots of options. Once you've done some career exploration and you have some insights into the required qualifications for jobs that you're interested in, it's time to start looking at programs of interest that align with those requirements. Of course, I'm going to again show you a spreadsheet that you can make a copy of and use. But as you're going through this, I really want to encourage you not to be afraid of acronyms that are shown as being required. So if in one of the jobs you're really interested in, it has required qualification NVCI as an example. NVCI is Nonviolent Crisis Intervention, and it's a really short course that you could take similar to first aid. So just please don't be afraid of required acronyms that you come across. Take some time to dig into them and see how accessible those requirements may be. In this final spreadsheet I'm going to share with you in this presentation, I want to help you consider different aspects of postgrad programs that you may be interested in pursuing to get you closer to your goals in terms of careers. With all of that career exploration in hand that you've done, It may be time now to start looking at future programs if additional training is required. I encourage you to, again, make a copy of this sheet. List the names of grad programs of interest down this column, and then explicitly consider and fill out the details for each program, considering things like whether or not there's an undergraduate major requirement. Are there course requirements for admission? Do you require work, volunteer, or research experience for admission? Are there GPA or GRE requirements for admission? And any additional requirements for admission. In addition to those more common things that people may consider, I really encourage you to also think about, are there faculty members there that you would want to work with? Is there more than one person? Is there funding and financial support available for you? Does the program or supervisor have a good reputation that you feel you want to be associated with? If relevant, will this grad program or post-grad program meet the requirements you have for registration? This is always up to you to ensure that the program you're taking meets the legal requirements for the association that you need to register with. You might also look at where alumni from that program are working using the strategy with LinkedIn I just showed you. You also want to really think about, does this school have the resources I want to meet my goals? And then you can think about any additional information that may be relevant to you. For example, is it in the right geographic location for you? To help keep yourself organized, if you're in the application phase, you might include the application deadline so that you can be on top of that and make sure your application is in on time. I have talked about a lot of things in this presentation, and at this time, I really want to direct your attention to the experts. For students at Queen's, we have a phenomenal team over at Career Services who are here to support you in your career journey. Current students and students within 1 year of graduation have access to a ton of free supports, including one-on-one career counseling. Most campuses in Canada have career teams, and they are comprised of wonderful people who want to see you succeed. If you're affiliated with a university or a college community, even as alumni, I encourage you to reach out to them. If their office isn't able to help, they're likely to be able to recommend an office who can. Thanks so much for being here. I hope that this was helpful, and please know that I am cheering you on in your next steps. So if you ever wonder if anybody wants you to succeed, please know that I do, and I'm really excited for you and the many opportunities that lie ahead of you.